Hey, what's up you guys, it's Dorothy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to go into chapter 21 of the game by Lindsay Miller, so I hope that you guys are ready for this video. This video may contain sensitive topics and foul language. If you do not wish to continue, I suggest you click off of the video now. You have been warned. Chapter 21. Leah woke slowly, light searing a white line across her eyelids. Jim snored softly to her left, a comforting sound she would know anywhere. An otter's collar jingled as she picked her way across Leah's legs. Leah rolled over and opened her eyes to a sleeping Devin. It was early, maybe 5 minutes before the alarms would go off, and the only light was thin strip escaping from underneath the bathroom door. She laid her head against his side, and to the steady hum of his life in his veins, overpowering the distant thump of his heart, his fingers brushed her neck. "I would never have thought Jim snored," he whispered. The bathroom door creaked and Leah shot up. Devin chuckled. Jim groaned and rolled over. Time, Leah yawned. "Are you going to school today?" "Emotionally, no. Physically, yes," Devin said. He riffled through his bag. "I have orchestra rehearsal after 2. "Relatable," Leah sighed. "I can't believe we were allowed to sleep in the same room." Leah wasn't entirely sure her parents knew about her eternal crush on Devin, but Devin's knew. God, why? "I've used up all of my sleepover goodwill, I think." Devin pushed a pair of glasses onto his face and blinked, grinning. "Good morning." Leah flushed. Yesterday was so hectic that Leah hadn't thought about how her normal pajamas were a t-shirt and shorts, neither particularly nice, and now he was staring at her. "You look nice in your glasses," she said. Desperate for a distraction, she gently tapped the clear plastic bridge of his glasses. "They're cute." He rolled his eyes. "They make me look 12. "Yeah, but like a distinguished 12, Jim said. They scrolled through their notifications like anime protagonist 12, the sort of who somehow runs a demon hunting business or something. "A 12-year-old who knows how to file taxes," Leah said. "I'm going to put on my contacts," he muttered. "Never again." "Wait." Gemma thrust their phone beneath Leah and Devin's faces. "Look." A handful of people online were talking about the police reopening Abby's case now that all the lab work was back. There was only speculation, no evidence. All they had said was that they weren't comfortable closing it as an accidental death yet. "I was there," Leah said. "I heard a trip. I tripped. I had a bruise to prove it." "They're keeping their minds open as not to miss anything, it says." Devin handed Jim back their phone. "Ignore it. Thinking about it will just worry us." "Sure," Leah sighed, rubbed her face, and undid the short braid of brown hanging over her shoulder. "We definitely shouldn't worry more." They got ready in silence, trying not to wake up Harrison. When they were ready, Jim drove and Leah sat in the passenger seat. She scratched her arms. "You're definitely worrying," Jim said as they pulled into the parking lot. Leah tugged her sleeves down over her hands. "If someone killed Abby, why didn't they kill me?" Jim and Devin glanced at each other. "There's no use in obsessing over it." Devin slipped his hand between the door and Leah's seat. His fingers gently crawled around her arm. "Same rules as playing assassins. Don't go anywhere alone and stay on guard." "My assassin made themselves known yesterday." Leah let her head hit the back of her seat. "I hope that was my assassin." "It was," Jim said, "and they were just angry you caught them trying to be edgy." Leah laughed, the sound of an odd bubbling thing that she didn't recognize, and followed Jim and Devin into school. The rest of the day went like that laugh, odd and fleeting. The teachers taught like normal, ignoring the empty seats and reading the announcement about grief counselors as if it were any other announcement. So quickly had the school buckled down and gotten over its grief. She escaped to a little outdoor path from the school to the library for fresh air between her first 2 classes. Eyes closed, Leah tilted her head up, inhaled and choked. The sweet sour scent of death rolled down the back of her throat. Leah shook her head and rubbed her eyes. A robin lay rotting in the bushes near her and Jim's usual lunch table. She darted across the path and body smacked into her. "Hey!" A hand closed around Leah's arm. "Oh!" It was Faith, and she dropped Leah's arm. Leah stumbled back. Her backpack fell off of her shoulder. "Crap!" Faith held her hands in surrender. "Sorry, I was just trying to slip past you. You looked pretty out of it." Leah's stomach was in her throat. "Sorry, yeah, I just needed fresh air." "Good luck," Faith said with a laugh and nodded to the bird. "Here, let me help." Faith set down the stack of books she had been carrying. She bent over Leah's backpack and picked it up, shoving a few of Leah's books and pens back into the half-closed front pocket. She zipped it up and handed it to Leah. Her arm didn't even shake. Carrying textbooks was practically weight training now. "Thanks," Leah said. "You didn't have to. It was my fault." Faith's head cocked to the side, her hair tumbling over her shoulder. She smiled. "I feel guilty, and Miss White always lectures us about how important volunteering is. Consider this altruism." "Luckily, we're done with all of that," Leah said, turning around and relenting. "Hardly. I haven't heard back yet." said Faith, but I have 4.2. I have a 4.2, so it should be fine. Leah didn't really know how to respond to that without starting a conversation, so she only nodded. It would have been better, but AP World History was so pointless. She picked up her books. Did you take it? We'll never need it. Leah hadn't, but she had liked the last geography and civics classes she took. AP classes were the bane of her existence, and she only took the ones her parents made her take. You will, Leah said. Critical reasoning and all of that. You might not ever need to know when things happen, but it's the thinking that counts. No, said Faith, checking her phone. I'm pretty sure you mean it's the thought that counts. Leah did not mean that. Sure, Leah said. You're right. Faith grinned. Sorry about spooking you. See you in class tomorrow, I guess. Yeah, tomorrow, Leah said, racing away. She was half worried about being late and half desperate to escape. She walked through the door to her next class with a minute to spare. Jim was already in their seat and chatting with a beaming Cassidy. At least something good is happening, Jim said, smiling at her. What's up, Leah asked. Nothing, said Cassidy quickly. Her smile fell. I got some good news. Leah sat without arguing. Cassidy's business was her own, but Jim leaned against their desk. She won't mind, Jim said. Really? Leah winced. Why would I mind good news? It made her feel bad. She didn't want her mere presence to take away from people's joy. I got offered the governor's scholarship, Cassidy said slowly, and she touched the little black and orange college pin on her shirt. I was next in line, apparently, because Abby was dead. The scholarship and the full ride that went with it were Cassidy's now. That's great. Leah sank into her chair. Bad things happened, and here was the proof that hope lived. I'm really glad you got it. The joy lasted until the end of school when Leah caught sight of Devin heading for her and Jim. Her shoulders tensed. Breathe, whispered Jim. Most people prefer people who breathe. I hate you, Leah managed to wave back at Devin. What even were they now? He told her he'd told his parents about her. He'd slept next to her. Hey, he said, how are you? I've been better, Leah said. How are you? He raised and lowered one shoulder. You know, there were good parts to today, but most of those were before school started. Oh? Leah felt the heat in her cheeks and turned so that he couldn't see, pulling out her phone from her backpack. Yeah, same. He glanced over to Jim and smiled when they rolled their eyes. What are you doing tonight? I'm not sure yet. Why? Leah asked. Oh, Devin swallowed and blinked, an odd look settling over his face. Wow, I thought you would be busy. He mimed shooting a water gun at her, and she shrugged. So he said slowly, between lessons and rehearsal, I'm going to be trapped with my violin forever. I have been trapped. I never even had time to really think about how to do this. Yes, Leah said, glancing at their hands. Your crowded high school agenda. Don't laugh. I can't even find my agenda. Who knows where I'm supposed to be now? He laughed and ducked, hair falling over his eyes. Do you want to come to my orchestra rehearsal? You can watch. No one minds. People do it all the time, and you don't have to stay for all of it. If it's boring, we could just spend some more time together during break and after. Leah exhaled through her nose, chest tight with joy. Are we dating? We probably have to go on a date to do that. She would have sworn he blushed. So, Jim studied their nails. He definitely blushed then. You can stay too. Do homework or chat or nap. It feels safer to be near you two. Jim and Leah agreed to stay. It would be nice to put off going home, and Leah wanted to figure out who her assassin was without her mom looming over her shoulder. Jim and Leah picked up a corner near the back of the auditorium where the heat puffed out of a vent at random intervals and the overhead light didn't flicker, and a dozen other friends picked uncomfortable wooden seats around them. Leah scrolled through her spreadsheet of everyone's schedules. At least 15 were theoretically free when Leah and Jim had seen the figure at the park. Aubrey, Bryce, Cassidy, Devin, Hunter, Jax, Jeremiah, Lori, Mateo, Mercedes, Nikki, Noah, Oliver, Ryder, Rose, Stefan, Tamora, and Zach. Leah said, plus anyone whose schedule changed since the game started. Who even is Aubrey? Jim asked, scrolling through their phone. Transferred last year, loves Hello Kitty, Leah groaned. I had way more information in my journal. Leah reached down into her bag to grab her agenda and left half of her textbooks on the floor. Jim snorted and glanced down. Well. Jim reached into Leah's backpack and pulled a small leather journal from the very bottom. Someone named Leah Prince is the worst. What the hell? Leah took her journal from Jim and flipped through it. It was a bit beaten up, as if it had been living at the bottom of her bag for weeks, but she had emptied her backpack at home the day she thought it was gone. No way. The pages were as Leah remembered them, and a cold dread settled over her. Had she really missed this, forgotten she had grabbed it? It was not there this whole time, she said. It couldn't have been. I emptied this bag so many times. Jim nodded, eyes wide. Yeah, I did. I am sure you did, Jim said, just like I am sure that trauma can affect memory. Leah's fingers picked at the fraying leather strings meant to keep the journal shut and flipped open the journal to Aubrey's page. Afraid of dogs and bees, read Leah. Great, my memory is terrible. Our friends are dead and someone I can't figure out is going to take me out of the game. Leah drew a line through everyone on the football and soccer teams. They had withdrawn and forfeited their upcoming matches. Not to be a broken record, Jim said, but priorities. Mark off Ryder. He was tutoring. I can't imagine Lori getting her hands dirty. Jax is creepy, but was on a date, and Mateo was streaming League all afternoon. His streaming schedule is in his bio. Leah sank down in her seat and propped her feet up on the chair in front of her. Okay, that helps. They lapsed into silence. Leah watched the rehearsal in awe of the way the players shifted from students to musicians. Devin tilted his chin and arched his fingers, preparing to play, and the tension seeped from him as the music carried across the auditorium. There was a purpose in the movement and calm in his face, and Leah couldn't think of a time when she had ever felt how he looked, but still a sense of calm settled over her as Devin and the others played on. The instructor called for them to stop and spoke to the horn section. Devin lowered his violin. He caught her gaze every time he could, the crook of his smile lost in the stage lights. Jim groaned, I'm going to run to Sonic and you can moon over Devin while I'm gone. You're still in the game and there is a little murderer running around, Leah pointed out. I should go with you. If you go with me, we won't be let back into the school. Jim raised one hand to Leah's face. I love you and I understand your fear. However, I need a minute or two alone to eat jalapeno poppers in my car with no one to judge me. I only judge you when you eat all of them before I can have one, Leah said. And well, I'm going to talk to May. Leah's face fell. Oh, yeah, she said she wanted to talk, and I don't really want to do that with an audience, Jim said, their smile slipping. I'll text you when I get into my car, when I get to Sonic, and when I get back. There's this stairwell right behind the stage. I should get back during their first break, and you can let me in through there. You'll lock the car, right? Leah asked. Of course, Jim said, and Mr. Jackson is almost always on his porch right now, so it's not like I'll be alone. The man who lived across from the school for the last decade was practically a volunteer security guard for the parking lot at this point, but to get to the car, Jim would have to walk down the street. They wouldn't be on school property. I'll be fine, Jim said. I'll be on the phone with May for most of the time. Don't worry. Leah tried not to worry. She really did. She waved at Devin from her spot in the back of the auditorium and focused on her homework. Jim texted twice as promised, and when Jim was in the lot and about to walk back, Leah slipped out of her row. Devin glanced at Leah as she climbed onto the stage. Jim went to Sonic and is out back now, Leah explained. Is there some sort of secret door back here? Oh yeah. He grabbed his water bottle and led her to a crooked metal door behind the curtain on stage right. This leads to the back lot, but the door locks automatically so you can open it, but don't let it close behind you. Leah peeked over the edge of the stairs down into the dim hall. The back lot was a swathe of cracked concrete between the school and a neighboring housing community, and it wasn't technically school grounds. Most students used it when they arrived too late to find a spot in the student lots. Creepy. I never knew this was here. We use it to leave, Devin said, tapping the graffiti-covered cement walls, and keep it a secret so no one catches us skipping. Leah snorted. Like you ever have. Thanks. Just save me a tater tot or something, Devin said. On my way, Leah sent Jim. She jogged down the stairs and opened the door. No Jim. She checked her phone. Nothing. Leah propped open the door to the back lot with a rock. The area was mostly empty, only a few people lingering on porches and in driveways. Leah sprinted to the lot. Jim's car sat empty and off in the middle of the lot, and Jim, unmoving, sat propped up against its side. Leah froze. Hot, sticky fear prickled over her skin and clogged her throat. There was no one else around and no reason why Jim would ever sit on the ground. Leah forced one leg forward, then the other. Jim, she called, voice shaking. The hair stood up straight on Leah's arms. I messed up, shouted Jim. I'm out. Jim, Leah croaked. What the heck? I got tagged and my leggings are wet. If I stand up, it'll look like I peed myself. Jim stared up at Leah. What's up? Leah let out a strangled laugh. I thought you were dead. Crap, I'm sorry. Leah sank down next to Jim, still laughing. Jim snorted. Is it really that funny? No, Leah said, gasping for breath, but you're not dead, so. I was foolish, Jim gasped and swooned, lying across Leah's legs. They have killed me, Mother. Run away, I pray you. Okay, calm down, Macbeth. Leah hugged Jim tightly, then pushed them off. You're getting me all wet. It was Nelson Zook, and his water gun's tanks was basically a bucket. Jim told her off. Macduff's son, actually. I only watched the play because you were in it. Leah stood and helped Jim up. Let's go, Macduff. That is the end of this chapter. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.